Proposition 39, Tax Treatment for Multistate Businesses, Clean Energy and Energy Efficiency Funding, Initiative Statute. Plain language, raise taxes on multistate businesses and give it to schools and green energy projects. Right now, most multistate businesses only pay taxes on the part of their income that is associated with California. While multistate businesses are by far the minority of businesses, they pay the most in taxes because they are usually big conglomerates like McDonald's or Home Depot and other large chain and franchise operations. That's really who Prop 39 is aimed at. California's corporate income tax currently brings in $9.6 billion in taxes every year. The way our tax laws are set up now, companies can choose between one of two ways to figure out their taxes. One, they can pay taxes based on a three-point method that calculates the company's taxable income based on how many employees, how much property, and how many sales the company makes in California. Or two, they can pay strictly based on how much money in sales the company made in California. The company can then choose the method that is most advantageous for them. What does it do? This law removes that choice and forces most businesses into option 2, requiring virtually all multi-state businesses to calculate their California income tax based on the percentage of their sales in California, and removing the option to pay lower taxes if the company has property and payroll expenses outside of California. Also, Prop 39 requires that $550 million of the extra business taxes described above be directed to a new fund called the Clean Energy Job Creation Fund to support projects intended to improve energy efficiency and expand the use of alternative energy in California. Fiscal impact. This proposition, if passed, would bring in approximately $1 billion in new tax money from multi-state corporations every year. Long story short, Proposition 39 would impose higher taxes on multi-state businesses that operate in California. About half of the money would go to energy efficiency and alternative energy projects, and the other half would likely be spent on public schools and community colleges. It also creates a new 9-member oversight board to review and evaluate the spending. Prop 39 would not affect any businesses that only operate in California. As usual, let's start with the yes on Prop 39 side. In 2009, a political deal created a $1 billion tax loophole for out-of-state corporations. At the end of the 2009 budget negotiations in Sacramento, in the middle of the night, legislators and lobbyists for out-of-state corporations made a deal, with no public hearings and no debate. They put a loophole into the state law that allows out-of-state corporations to manipulate our tax system every single year and avoid paying their fair share to California. The cost of this loophole? $1 billion per year in lost revenues for California. Prop 39 ends this loophole and ends the manipulation in our tax system. It levels the playing field, ensuring that multi-state companies play by the same rules as California employers. Currently, tax loopholes let corporations pay less taxes to California if they have fewer employees here, giving companies a reason to send jobs out of the state. The state's nonpartisan independent legislative analyst has cited studies showing that Prop 39 will bring California as many as 40,000 jobs. It will also create thousands of clean energy jobs. That's why the independent legislative analyst has called for the eliminating of the present loophole. The yes people also say that the money raised by Prop 39 will provide vitally needed revenues for public services, and portions of it will be used to fund energy efficiency projects at schools and other public buildings. Using proven energy efficiency measures like improving insulation, replacing leaky windows and roofs, and adding small-scale solar panel installations will reduce state energy costs, freeing up dollars for essential services like education, police, and fire. They say by increasing energy efficiency, Prop 39 will reduce the air pollution that causes asthma and lung disease, and will also remove lead, asbestos, mold, and other toxic substances from schools. They say the phony opposition arguments about Prop 39 creating bureaucracy are nonsense. Prop 39 creates a Citizens Oversight Board to ensure funds dedicated to job creation and energy efficiency are properly spent, including independent audits. And to sum it all up, the San Jose Mercury News said that corporate lobbyists pulled a fast one on California, and that it was the kind of shenanigan that gives corporations a bad name and makes a mockery of government openness. Prop 39 will restore fairness. And now to the opposition. The no on Prop 39 people say, when you read Prop 39's campaign promises, remember that Tom Steyer, whom CNN called California's hedge fund king, is bankrolling $20 million on slick poll-tested words like loophole and promising clean jobs. Loophole? Prop 39 repeals a tax law that's been in effect for decades, generating billions in state revenue. The nonpartisan legislative analyst and the Department of Finance agree. Prop 39 is a $1 billion tax increase. California is already losing businesses at a record rate. How will raising taxes on companies employing tens of thousands of Californians make things better? This bill gives California employers another reason not to invest or hire. Fewer jobs mean lower revenue and more cuts to schools and law enforcement. Prop 39 raised $2.5 billion from the state budget, money that could go to schools, roads, infrastructure, or public safety. It spends up to $22 million on a new bureaucracy and special interest commission, and millions in salaries and pensions for political cronies. It gives Sacramento politicians a blank check to spend billions without real accountability or taxpayer protections against conflicts of interest. This is a recipe for waste and corruption. California needs teachers and police officers, not more bureaucrats. And they say that under Prop 39, money is spent to give contracts to so-called green energy programs. Who is likely to get those contracts? Big campaign contributors, that's who. Prop 39 is so poorly written that it doesn't even prohibit contractors from giving campaign money to Sacramento politicians that award the contracts. California's unemployment is already the third worst in the country at nearly 11%. Prop 39 makes it worse. Remember, a billionaire with an agenda is bankrolling Prop 39. It's up to voters to protect California taxpayers. By voting no on Prop 39, you will stop a job-killing $1 billion tax increase on California job creators. You will support middle-class California jobs that provide for families and sustain our economy. And you'll tell Sacramento politicians no more blank checks for special interest spending on bloated government pensions. So these are my thoughts. Because of the culture we have going on, anytime someone starts talking about stick it to the big businesses, billionaire, crony, rich, fat cat, multi-million-dollar evil conglomerates, everybody jumps right up on that because most Americans today seem to have this anti-business mentality. But let me reinforce that multi-state businesses pay big taxes in California. The tax climate here is so bad as it is that companies are fleeing the state all the time. 254 companies left California last year, and the ones that stay and pay these ridiculous taxes don't suffer alone. When California, or anyone else for that matter, passes a law that raises taxes, do you think the CEO of Chevron just folds his hands in his lap and says, "Oh well, I guess we lose"? Do you think that happens? Or do you think that the price of gas goes from $3 to $3.10 per gallon? Can you imagine the CEO of McDonald's crying in his office because Prop 39 passed? Or do you imagine the price of a Big Mac going up? And then this green energy crap. Look, coming up with ways to preserve resources and pollute less is great. Really, it is. But the idea that we're going to dump billions into these experiments and see great success just doesn't register with me. If these new innovations are so profitable and so awesome, private companies would already be doing it without draining tax money. And many do. Toyota, for example, set out to find a way to build a greener car with great gas mileage, and voila, we have the Prius. Great job, Toyota. Meanwhile, the government takes over GM, and then they build the Chevy Volt, and voila, GM loses $50,000 on each Volt that it sells. Let's do it again. Look at the countless solar energy companies that install panels on the roofs of eager residents to save thousands of dollars each year on energy bills. It works. Then you have Solyndra, where the government pumped $500 million of taxpayer money into it, only to have it promptly file bankruptcy. And who cared? It's just tax money. Now, to be fair, there is some progress that comes from government redistribution in this matter. But again, I do not believe that this is the best way forward. I don't think that it's good for California to bleed jobs through excessive taxation, nor do I think the best results will come from funneling millions of dollars of tax money into random companies that don't necessarily have a strong vested interest in success. When car companies build green cars or when solar companies create solar-powered devices, they go at it with everything they have to make the best product and sell the most merchandise because they stand to profit big or lose big. Whereas government contractor types may be motivated by a personal work ethic or they may not. If these companies fail, it's just like, oops, oh well, it's just taxpayer money anyway. And then I do agree that the money is likely to be distributed in a crony capitalist manner anyway. Which is to say, much of the money will probably be given away in contracts to friends and donors of this new Energy Commission and its directors. There's so many accounts of the government starting these new exciting programs, and then tens of millions of dollars get wasted because no one really cares what happens with government money. Innovation should be driven by those who do it out of their own passion and motivation, not by people who stumble upon a government grant and then decide that they're in the energy business. That's why we embrace capitalism. And the business about helping education, if you haven't noticed, everybody likes to claim that everything will help our struggling schools and save our students. Yes, a small portion of this will probably make it to school districts, but that's just another gimmick. Anytime people write a bill, they can't wait to find a way to add in how it will fund our schools and public safety departments and keep us safe, and I am sick of that. A yes vote on Prop 39 raises taxes on multi-state businesses in California, and a no vote keeps the corporate tax law the same. For the sake of jobs, the sake of the economy, and plain old rationality, I'm voting no on Prop 39. We don't need to run any more businesses out of this state.